Alright, gonna do a quick video here on a Palmetto State AK. Now this is the Gen 1 version. The Gen 1 has a cast trunnion in it, and a lot of people were up in arms about the cast trunnion, which is the reason why they decided to release a Gen 2 that used forged or billet trunnion. I'm not sure if they've released it for sale as of the making of this video, but I do know they've announced it. But I was concerned when I found out it had a cast trunnion, because I didn't know that when I bought it, and especially with how everybody was going on about them and saying they weren't going to hold up. But I have over 700 rounds to this now, and from what I'm seeing, everything is good. And if you've seen the 5,000 round videos that the AK Operators Union guys are doing, they did one on the RAS-47, and yes, they did have a lot of problems with the RAS-47, but that was all small parts that they were having issues with, sights and bolts, carriers, things like that. The trunnions themselves, the trunnion in the RAS-47 seemed to be holding up very well. I think they mentioned that a few times, how well the trunnion looked. So I don't think a cast trunnion is automatically a death sentence to a rifle, as long as it's made properly, and that definitely seems to be the case with this one. I know it's not as 5,000 rounds, but by 1,000 rounds they were definitely seeing wear issues in the RAS, and any other rifles that I've seen them working with that had poorly made parts, they would show up some definite issues by the 1,000 round mark, and I'm approaching that quickly with this. Now, when I first got the rifle, it just had the basic black Magpul stock options on it. Had a slant brake, which I removed because I do not like slant brakes. They are not comfortable shooting for me. The gas tube or piston tube, whatever you want to call it, was very tight and very difficult to get out. You could get it out so far, and then it would start to bind on the front of the trunnion here, or the sight tower or whatever, and you'd have to actually use a tool to pry it out all the way. But using this Ultimac rail, I don't have to worry about that anymore. I can't say too much about the Ultimac rail because I've just gotten it recently. I haven't done a whole lot of shooting with it on here, other than some sighting and just some shooting after that. So that's a fairly new addition, but I do really like it. So far it seems to be doing very well. Now, the dust cover was a little tight as well, hard to get on and off, but a little tweaking on that, and it's real simple. So as far as the accuracy of the rifle, I have no complaints with that. It's every bit as good as a decently made AR would be at 100 yards, maybe even a little bit better with some quality ammo like Hornady SSTs. When I was doing an initial sight in with it, just to make sure I was on paper and everything and dial everything in, I was using some SSTs, and at 50 yards I could get the bullet holes to be just touching. So very good groups overall with this rifle. And now let's go into the internals of it. While I'm taking it apart, I'll tell you about the trigger. The trigger is nothing to write home about. It is very long, a lot of creep in it. I guess that's just indicative of an AK trigger, or a fairly standard AK trigger. But it's very smooth, so there's no real problems there. It's just a long, creepy trigger. Now, we'll start with, on these parts, we'll start with the piston head here. And as you can see, there's no unusual wear anywhere. Well, that's no weird marks. Very little wear at all, even on the finish there. So very nice. Everything seems to be riding smooth. There's a bit of finish wear here from where it appears that the when the piston comes back, it kind of bounces a little bit, but I've seen that a lot of AKs being fired without the dust cover, and the carrier kind of wobbles a bit, so that's probably where that comes from. And I'm not really concerned about that. It's just a little finish wear. Everything else is also very little wear, just finish wear, as you can see here, and the rails, a little bit of finish wear. Probably hard to see on the video, but it's very minor wear for this thing. The actual camming surfaces in the carrier, it's just finish wear there as well. There's no metal deformation and no metal being removed. It's just simply a little shiny from where the parts are riding against each other. Another place of concern is the tail here. This tail will push against the hammer to begin the cocking as the carrier moves backwards under when it was cycling, and some appear to get beat up pretty bad. This one has a little bit of flatness, but no real deformation. I'm not saying the metal being spread out and causing any issues. So overall, that looks very good. I don't think I'm going to have any issues with that. The rivet that holds the piston to the front of the carrier is nice and solid, so no problems there. Now to the bolt. As you can see, it is also just some finish wear on where the bolt tail rides in the carrier. There is a little bit of finish wear on the locking lugs where they ride in the receiver and then lock up, but no metal has been removed at all, just are deformed. It is simply a little wear on the finish. Same for the actual lug that is used to cam and rotate the bolt. It's just a little shiny where it rides against the parts in the carrier. So overall, very minor surface wear to some moderate surface wear at the most. So I'm very happy with the levels of wear. I don't think it's going to be any issues, and I've cleaned it about halfway through the round count, and it's very little wear. What wear has happened early and then stopped. Now, as far as the locking lugs themselves in the trunnion area, there is no deformation and no wear marks. I don't even see wear on the finish really there. There's a little on the top of them where the bolt slides across the top, but not on the actual locking surfaces. Same for the rail surfaces, very minor surface wear there. Overall, everything seems to be holding together very well. No issues. The rivets are nice and tight. There's no gaps, and nothing seems to be coming loose for those. So I think the rifle was put together very well. Everything seems to be very well done. For their first attempt at building an AK, they seem to have done a pretty good job. I'm not an AK expert, but it definitely seems like they've done a good job. It has just a little bit of mark rubbing here. I think it contacts the inside here a little bit and the dust cover a little bit, but I've seen other AKs with similar marks, as I said, so I'm not concerned. Everything goes together nicely. There we go. And everything's good. So, well put together, pretty accurate. It's not minute of angle accurate, but didn't expect it to be, nor do I need it to be. And with red dot, I'm really liking it. It's much easier to use that red dot than the standard AK sights. So overall, I think it's well put together, and I don't think I'm going to have a problem with it, and I don't think I need to worry about picking up a Generation 2 or another AK to supplement this one due to fears of the trunnion coming apart on me. So there you have it. It's a good option. If they come out with the Gen 2 and they get those in stock and you're looking at those will probably be put together just as well.